I can just call, right?
Yes. That is correct.
You can fold too.
That is correct too. That's an option.
Welcome to this episode of How to Crush No Limit Hold'em Games in United States Casino. I'm June. Today we'll continue our cash game sessions in National Harbor Casino. And if you haven't watched previous episodes, you can click the links here. And let's go fishing. Today we're still playing small blind big blind 1-3 game, and we continue this session on $1,200. And if you haven't watched the previous episode, please click the link to see it. And the first hand we're gonna share start with cutoff player limit. I got King 4 of spades on button and raise it to 17 bucks. He calls. Flop comes King 9-9 rainbow. He checked to me. On this pair board, although I hit a top pair, but I think his limp call range will have more line than me, and also my kicker is too small to play, so I choose to check back. And turn comes a queen of hearts. He checked me again. Here I bet 25 bucks, hoping some queen jack or queen 10 or some draws can pay me. He chooses to call. And river comes a 6 of clubs, which is a blank, and he checked me again. And because I already checked on the flop, I think I can get one straight value on river, so I bet $30, and I'm targeting his queen X or small pocket pairs. And he chooses to call, and I show my king. It's good, and we successfully took down the first pot today. In the second hand, start with hijack player limit and cutoff player limit. I got queen 4 diamonds on the bottom and raise it to 20 bucks. Only cutoff player calls, hijack folded. Flop comes queen 5-5 rainbow. He checked to me. And compared with the previous hand, this board is even drier. So the hands I can get value from is lesser. And if I'm gonna bet here, I choose queen with a better kicker. And here I think check back will have another advantage is opponent may have chance to hit some pair and draws to pay me on turn and river. And after I check back, turn comes a 35, and opponent checked me again. Here I bet 15 bucks, and because I already checked flop, opponent may call more range, such as some ace high or king high on this turn, and opponent choose to call. And river unfortunately comes an ace. And worse than that is opponent dunk bets 20 bucks. And based on the opponent's action line, I don't think he has any bluff here, so I did not think for too long and folded. And I asked opponent if he has an ace, and opponent shows ace deuce offsuit. And it's really comfortable to play with opponents that shows his hands. Got an ace? And next hand start with early position player limit, and bottom player is a aggressive Asian player, raise it to 15 bucks. I got pocket queens on big blinds. I have 3 bet to 60 bucks. And early position folded and button calls. Flop comes 9-9-7-2 spades. It didn't change too much, and on this kind of board I usually bet 1/3 of the pot using my entire range. And he chooses to call. And we can see on the wizard is not suggesting betting on the entire range, because 3-bet range is set up is a lot wider than my 3-bet range. And he also checked a lot of ace X offsuit or some suited hand without flush draw. But for pocket queens, it definitely suggesting high frequency betting. And turn comes a 2 of hearts. So there are 2 flush draw on the board. And obviously our hands did not block any flush draw, so we definitely want to bet a big size. And we check his chips, he has 380 behind, so the best strategy is bet a big size. I bet for 200 bucks, But now I think check all-in is also a good option because he is an aggressive player who loves to stab. And very sadly, after I bet, he chose to fold finally. We can see also on the wizard on this board, queen queen, clubs and diamonds, this combo, because it didn't block the backdoor flush draw and front door flush draws, it would be 100% betting. But if we got queens of hearts and spade, we were suggesting 80% of frequency to check because it blocked the flush draw. And if we want to bluff on this spot, we would choose combos like block opponent's 9x combo. On this spot, the bottom player calls 3-bet range mostly with some suited hand like 8-9 suited or 9-10 suited. So considering the blocking effect, we would choose combos like 10-8 or Jack-8 or Ace-10. This kind of combos would be our ideal bluff combos. In the next hand, start with under the gun player limped, bottom player also limped. I got 10 jacks of spades on the small blind and raised it to 18 bucks and 2 player calls. In flop comes king 9 deuce 3 spades, and very luckily we hit a flush. And facing 2 player, I choose to bet 20 bucks, a small size, and to my surprise, under the gun player raised it to 79 bucks. And moreover, bottom player calls this raise, and the action turned back to me, and this is really interesting. I'm not too worried about the bottom player. And for the under the gun player, if he got an ace high flush, would he raise on this spot in position facing me? I think it's relatively small chance. I think more likely on this board he would raise with a set or 2 pair or hand with 1 single ace of spade. And I check his chips, he has 220 behind and it's not particularly deep, so we don't need to worry about flush over flush. And I still beat some 7-8 of spade or 6-7 of spades, so eventually I push all in. And under the gun player snap call and bottom player folded after a deep tank, and the turn and river comes 7 of hearts and 3 of hearts. After I show my hand, I successfully took down the spot. And bottom player claims he has top 2 and under gun player claims he has set. And we successfully scooped this huge pot. Wow. What did you fold?
Top 2, king 9.
Wow, great fold.
Somebody that ever flushed in my call like that.
Nice hand, sir.
Thank you.
You have a set?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had top 2, king 9.
Yeah.
I figured someone had a set and someone had a flush. You guys are exactly what I figured you had.
Great read. In the next hand, we're playing against our old friend, always 15 bro. He limped on hijack and I got ace 5 of hearts. I raised it to 20 bucks. He chose to call. Flop comes ace 4 6 2 spades. He checked to me. Here I very luckily hit the top pair. I bet for 20 bucks. I want to get value from some draws or middle player, and he chose to call. Turn comes a 7 of spade. He checked me again. And this is a very dicey turn. I got a double-ended straight draw, but simultaneously he has some like 6-7 2 pairs to surpass me, and plus there's a flush on the board, so I choose to check to pot control. And river comes a 10 of clubs. He snap bet 25 bucks, and although this is a really relatively small bet, but facing our old friend, I don't think there's any bluff here. And we asked would he show after we fold. He smiled secretly. After I fold, he showed king queen of spades. And I already would lose this pot. I think we control the loss, and it's a great outcome, I think. Will you show me this time? Woo! You're so good.
Thank you.
And the next hand is a really interesting hand. It's middle position player limped. I got 6-7 of diamonds on hijack and raised it to 21 bucks. And button and small blind all calls. Middle position folded. Flop comes king 9 3 2 diamonds. I got a flush draw and backdoor straight draw. Small blind check to me. On the three-way pot, I choose to check. And bottom player bet 30 bucks. Small blind calls. And I check raise to 150. And what I'm thinking is, if I got aces or like a set, I would probably go this line. My bluff would be some flush draws. And to my surprise, bottom player re-raise all in for 350 and small blind folded. Wow, and I think we're probably behind, but we already committed, so we can only cry and call. And turn and river comes queen of hearts and seven of hearts. It didn't come the diamonds, and we showed our hand. Opponent shows pocket tens, very surprisingly. But I'm still not good enough to beat pocket tens. And very interestingly, opponent educated me on the table after he take down the spot.
Why check raise? You open, you got the range of king. I don't know, I'm so confused when I go in.
And the next hand start with under the gun player limped. Cutoff also calls. Bottom player raises it to 20 bucks. I got pocket king, some big blind, and 3-bet to 80 bucks. And under the gun player push all in for $108. And bottom player choose to call. Action back to me. One thing need to note is that I cannot re-raise here because under the gun player all in only re-raise for 28 bucks. It's smaller than my raising size 60 bucks. I also confirmed that with the dealer. I can just call, right?
Yes. What is correct?
You can fold too.
That is correct too. That's an option.
So after I call, flop comes jack 6 for 2 clubs. And relatively safe flop. I basically only lose 2 pocket jacks. So only thing I need to concern is how to put my money in the pot. After he checked to me, he only has 170 behind. So I bet a small size 50 bucks. An opponent push all in and I snap call. And turn and river comes 9 of spades and 2 of diamonds. After I show, very luckily we win the main pot and side pot.
Side pot first, please. Pair kings for this one.
Got your kings.
Oh, yeah.
Becoming a thorn in my side, sir.
He scoops it. He's right. Thank you.
And the next hand start with middle position limped. Low jack also limped. High jack raised it to 15 bucks. I got queen jack suited on cutoff. I choose to call. And other player also calls. Flop comes queen 3 5 2 diamonds. All player check to me. Here I hit a top pair, and on the 4-way pot I choose to bet 15 bucks to deny opponent's equity. And only low jack player calls, other folds. Turn comes a 8 of diamonds. He checked to me. And because there's a flush on the board, I also choose to check back. And river comes a 2 of spade. Opponent bet for 30 bucks, around 1/3 of the pot. Wow, and this is a really tough decision because on the flush board he bet a really small size, which I don't think he has a flush. And for this opponent, he's a new player. I don't know whether he will have some strange bluffs such as miss straight draw. And also he's slim call pre-flop, so I think he maybe got some queen that's weaker than mine. So I still choose to call. And to my surprise, opponent shows ace queen offsuit. And I didn't expect that hand it was in opponent's slim call range at all. And we unfortunately lose this pot. In the next hand, start with low jack player limped, high jack also limped. I got queen x of clubs on the cutoff. I raised it to 25 bucks. Button calls, high jack also calls. We're entering a 3-way pot. Flop comes 10 9 7 3 diamonds. High jack check to me. On this board I don't have any advantage, and also it's a 3-way pot, so I choose to check. And bottom player also checks. Turn comes a king of clubs. High jack checked. I think high jack checked 2 streets. He's got nothing in the most cases. And bottom player already have around half of the pot remains, so I bet 41 bucks, and he snap calls, and river comes a jack of hearts. I hit a straight, but he shows ace-8 of diamonds, and turns out he flopped this flush, and then I already got 0 outs, and very sadly I lose this spot. And the last hand I'm gonna share today is I got pocket kings under the gun and raised it to 15 bucks. And low jack, the player who educated me on the table, also calls, and small blind calls. Flop comes ace-5-9 rainbow, small blind check to me. On this ace high board, I don't think my kings need any protection, and on the multi-way, I choose to check. And turns out low jack also checks. Turn comes a 5 of hearts, and small blind check to me again. Here I think it doesn't change much. I also choose to check to pot control, and low jack also checks. River comes a 8 of spades. Small blind check to me. Here I bet 30 bucks. I hope to get value from some middle pairs, and low jack calls. We show our kings and it's good. We successfully took down the last pot of today. Overall today I played a very great session and a lot of great hands and went all in, and I bought in for $300 and cashed out $14.67, so it's a great win and really appreciate it. And although I think some hands I can deal with more perfectly and still got a lot of rooms to improve my strategy, and I think this is why I started this channel and have all these hands review. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.
That is your chance to be ruthless.